This video shows how to add employee statutory leave to ensure Xero accurately calculates pay when an employee takes statutory time off. Let's take a look. From the Payroll Overview page, click Go to Leave. Alternatively, select the Payroll tab, then choose Leave. Click New, then select Statutory Leave from the drop-down menu. Click the Employee field to view a list of employees. If you have a long list of employees, you can start typing a name to make it easier to select them from the list. Click the required employee, then select the statutory leave from the list of all available types. Let's select sick leave from the list. Next, enter the start and end dates of the sick leave. If the employee is off on long-term sickness, enter an end date well into the future to estimate the latest return to work date. It's better to enter a date later than the actual return date. You can amend the date to be earlier, but if you enter an earlier date and include it in a pay run, you can't extend it later. Once you've entered the start and end dates, Xero will display the required 3 waiting days and calculate the qualifying days. Answer the questions for your employee so Xero can calculate the relevant pay amounts. If you select No to sufficient documentation, Xero creates the time off entry, but not the pay item for the pay run, as you should only pay statutory sick pay with the correct paperwork. If you select Yes to self-isolation, Xero removes the 3 waiting days. Click Add to complete the process. Xero needs enough data about the employee's previous pay to calculate the average weekly earnings for some statutory leave types, such as sick pay. In this example, Xero has insufficient information, so it displays a message that you need to manually calculate and add the average weekly earnings so it can process the statutory time off. For information about calculating average weekly earnings, visit the HMRC website. To override the average weekly earnings calculation, click the History tab. You'll see the statutory pay with a status of Not Entitled. Click the statutory pay line to edit the details. Next, click Override Average Weekly Earnings and enter the average weekly earnings you've calculated for the employee. Click Save to confirm the details. Once you've updated the statutory pay details, you can view the statutory leave from the Current tab. Now let's take a look at adding maternity leave. Click New, then choose Statutory Leave. Select the employee, then click the Leave Type drop-down menu and choose Maternity from the list. First, add the expected due date. Then, enter the expected leave start and end dates, which can be up to a year apart. Xero calculates the qualifying week and duration of leave. Once the baby has been born, you can return to the statutory leave entry and add the birth date. Next, select whether the pay is subject to pension calculation and whether the employee supplied sufficient documentation. In the case of maternity leave, this would usually be the MAT B1 certificate. Once you've added all the details, click Add. Xero displays the maternity leave assessment and notes regarding the reasons and further actions required. For example, if the employee hasn't worked for you long enough, you'll see a message informing you and directing you to complete an SMP1 form. If Xero has insufficient data to calculate average weekly earnings, click the maternity leave, then click Override Average Weekly Earnings and enter the amount, as we did with sick leave earlier in the video. You can also add keep in touch days when relevant by clicking into the maternity leave and then selecting keep in touch days from the calendar. Xero tracks how many days the employee has taken against their 10-day entitlement. Add all employee statutory leave before processing your pay run each period.